Hello, Jess. Hello. Lovely to chat with you.
You as well.
You've got a new song out, Leave Each Other Alone, featuring Travis Collins. It's so good. I love it so much.
Thank you. I'm so glad.
But I have to know, how does Travis Collins from Australia get to work with Jess Moskaluke from Saskatchewan? How does this happen?
Well, so this happened a couple of years ago now, which feels not that long ago, but when I was playing my first few shows in Australia, so I needed an Australian band, and my friend Phil Barton, who I write with all the time, he lives in Nashville, he's from Australia, has a great knowledge of that scene there. He had hooked me up with Travis kind of prior to going to Australia, and let me know that Travis had a great band and they would just crush my songs. So we were sort of aware of each other just before I got there. And then we met in person at these shows and we got along really well. And I just knew that his voice had to be a part of something that I did.
Yes. Oh my gosh, his voice is.
I know. He's unreal.
Yeah. But you guys didn't get to, I mean, we've been in a pandemic. You guys didn't get to record this together. He's still there. You're in Saskatchewan this whole time. You didn't get to film together. You had to do the whole thing virtually.
Yeah.
What was that like?
Well, it was crazy, but it wasn't as different as people might think, believe it or not. I've been fortunate enough to do a few duets with Gord Bamford, Paul Brandt, Alan Doyle, and I have never been, oh, that's a lie. I was in the same room as Gord when we recorded, but not with Paul, not with Alan. I don't even think we were in the same town at the time. So that part wasn't entirely different, but what was really different is that Travis and I didn't have each other's voices to listen to. So usually like I would go in and sing, and then Travis would have my voice so he could complement what I had done, or vice versa. We didn't have the time to do that this time. So we just totally went in and kind of sang blind, which is really hard when you're singing harmonies without a melody.
Of course.
This song should not have turned out as well as it did.
That is insane to me, because not only did it turn out, you guys, your voices just, they work so well together. They complement each other so well. So that's just lucky. You guys were meant to perform together.
I think it was fate. I wrote this song years ago as well, before I even met Travis or knew that he existed. I kind of wrote it knowing that it could be a duet, but typically when I'm specifically writing a duet, I have an artist in mind, and I'll write it in their key. I'll write it about a subject that I feel they could, deliver properly. But I couldn't do that this time. So I wanted to make sure that we were writing it so that I could just sing it solo if I wanted. But then Travis came along and, changed that whole plan, and it really was fate.
Yeah, absolutely. And it works so well. Are you guys going to get to perform together anytime soon? Now that things are opening up, maybe? Are you thinking about it? Are you talking about it?
I don't think we're talking about it quite yet. It's a little early. Things are barely opening up here in Canada, and so we will eventually. I would love to get back to Australia. I'm sure maybe next year, but no solid plans just yet. It's just a touch early.
Okay, all right. I know we're all just so eager though. It's like, let's get back to life. One thing that I really love about this song, and I want to know if this was intentional. It probably was, because you're a brilliant songwriter, but it's got like an ambiguous kind of meaning to it. Like when I first heard it, I thought, oh, this is a nice love song of a person that you just can't, you need to be around all the time. But then I thought, is it a love song? And when I watched the video, it kind of reinforced that. There was that scene in the diner where she's like, where were you last night? And it's also kind of like that person that you can't quit. So was that intentional? Was that what you want?
Yes.
Okay.
So I love when a song has some color to it lyrically, in, like leave an empty red bottle from the night before. Like that paints a very clear picture of something that was going on. But I love when the general subject / outcome maybe is a little more ambiguous, because I love music that I can relate to. I love hearing a song and being like, oh my gosh, how did that person know what I was going through at that point in my life? And I would love to be those songs and that artist for some people. So I sometimes have a hard time really telling people what a song is about because I want them to draw their own conclusions. And I never want them to think, oh, well, I thought this song was about this, but Jess said it's about this.
Yeah.
So I did want it to be ambiguous. I wrote it about a specific thing that I went through, 10 years ago, but maybe that's what someone's going through right now. And maybe it's not exactly what I went through, but I want them to be able to use it as a crutch if they need.
Yeah, I love that. And your music definitely does that. It's very evocative. It brings you back to a time and place. Because for me, it also brought me back like to that guy in university that I just couldn't. His mom always said you were either hating or dating. And that's exactly right. Like it was like, but you just couldn't stop, even though you knew you should. So that's what I got from it.
I love that.
On another vein entirely, I want to put you on the hot seat, the hot country hot seat for a little bit. I've got 5 questions for you, very short and sweet questions. So favorite accent, and I'm asking this because obviously Travis Collins, Australian, that's one of our faves.
I love that. I also love, and it's sort of similar in some ways, South African. I love.
Ooh,
it's
yes.
almost like, in my opinion, like a blend of English and Australian, and then its own as well. So it's kind of just like the best of all the worlds.
It is. It's very classy.
It is.
Yeah. Guilty pleasure when you're on tour?
I am a bit of a foodie, so there's not anything specific, but like that's one of the things that I'm really looking forward to. Like living in a small town, I love it here, but we don't have most of the restaurants here, and by most of them I mean like there's 3. And I think that probably 2 of them aren't dine-in yet, so I'm looking forward to like eating food not in my house. So anything, like honestly, just like I don't even know if that's a guilty pleasure, but just going out and enjoying a meal.
Absolutely. So that actually brings me to my next one. Favorite food in Canada. And again, this is a tour thing. So, when you're all over the place, when you go to this specific place, you can get this specific thing.
Well, I mean, East Coast, man. Anything.
I know.
I love seafood. Like oysters specifically, I prefer East Coast to West Coast oysters. Don't hate me, anybody out there.
No.
But I love that. I don't know if that's like a specific enough thing. Cow's ice cream is great out there too. I'm so excited to have a few shows out there. I'm going to eat my face off.
You do. You have a couple shows out there coming up, and we are going to chat about that. But best part of living in a small town?
I think for me, it's a little bit of privacy in some ways, which sounds weird because everybody kind of knows your business out here. But I just like the scaled back kind of quiet of it all.
Yeah, I like that too. And I like that you chose to stay. And it was probably really nice during this last year and a half too, because other Canadian artists that I've chatted with that are in Nashville, they haven't seen their family this entire time.
Yeah, right? I'm really lucky that I've been able to see my family and spend more time with my husband. And we live on a farm. We have like 20 acres out here. So the space is fantastic. And, we've been able to get out to the lake as well. And we live in a beautiful area. So it's been really nice to actually be able to like appreciate it a little bit more over the last year and a bit.
Absolutely. Okay, last hot seat question. Which Canadian artist or band would you love to collaborate with that you haven't worked with yet?
Jade Eagleson is coming to mind. I really, really love his voice, and he's been doing some really cool stuff lately. I'm sure that list could go on and on, but that's the first one that pops into my mind immediately.
All right, Jade, are you listening? I would love to make that happen. So we were chatting about PEI. We were chatting about oysters. Shows you have coming up, so it works that you love oysters because you're going to be performing at the Oyster Festival, right?
I know. I didn't realize I segued into that.
I know. It's just no big deal. You're a pro. So that's Rock the Boat, right? In PEI, that's going to be happening on Natal Day weekend, and you're performing there with the Reclaws. We're going to be there too, so we'll get to
that's awesome.
Yeah, meet in person, which will be nice. But then you're also coming to Nova Scotia.
Mm-hmm.
Now that's not officially announced at the time that we're chatting, but it will be announced by the time
Okay.
this airs. So you'll also be at Rock the Hub in Truro.
Yeah, I know. I'm all over there. It's funny, like it's been a little bit. I think it's been a few years since I've had shows over there for no specific reason, because it's genuinely my favorite place in Canada. Like put me out east anywhere and you'll have a hard time getting me out of there. So I'm really happy to be back.
Oh, well, we're happy to have you. Lots of opportunities to see you and to hear Leave Each Other Alone. We're not going to hear Travis Collins on it when you perform it in the
No,
East Coast, but we are going to hear your beautiful voice, and I can't wait.
I'm so excited. I guarantee you I'm 100 times more excited than anybody else.